Welcome to Nisi Television, the house of rest.
The following program has been rated PG. Parental guidance is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard of cases in the society of people murdering their spouses and their children? What about human beings throwing themselves off buildings? In our universities today, it's a den of crime. Students in drugs, students in habit of homosexuality, which also cuts across in our society today. What do you think? Is there anyone to blame? Do you think it's a major issue in our society? Welcome to the Divulge show, a show whereby we unmask matters happening in the society, matters which the society shies away from speaking about. And this is a place where we'll journey with you as an individual and largely in the society to find the healing of the soul and the empowerment of the spirit. My name is Kesh Susan, and I will be your host every Tuesday from 9:30 to 11:30 here at Nisi Television, where we transform life through media. Welcome to the Divulge show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Susan. And today I'm grateful and thankful to God, of course, for another opportunity to bring this amazing content to us. And today we are going to talk about, what I didn't know, what you didn't know about depression. Now, depression, as I said, I posted earlier, I think today or yesterday around, afternoon, and I say depression is a vocabulary that is mainly used or largely used in the community, more so here in Kenya. And, it's well known. But do we really know the meaning? Do we really know what we're talking about when we speak matters depression? Do we really mean, do we mean what, it's supposed to be, what, the meaning of depression, which we will get to understand. Of course, we have a guest with us. Or we mean stress, we mean anxiety, we mean a lot of things. But, stay standby, going to understand much. Tell a friend, talk to us on the social media pages. That is Nisi Television, Facebook, Nisi Television, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere, Nisi Television. Karibuni sana. And today we have with us a great man, a counselor, and hiyo ingine atajiintroduce. Unajua unaweza introduce mtu na anataka kusema kitu ingine extra. Karibu sana daktari. Acha nikuite daktari because you're a specialist in this. Yes. In our community, mtu akiwa specialist in something tunajua ni daktari.
Asante.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Angalia camera and then tutaji introduce.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Daniel Kariuki, counseling psychologist by profession. I run an organization by the name of Desired Living, Counseling and Consultancy. I'm also working at Minet, Kenya as a wellness counselor. And I'm here this evening to give a talk and a show in relation to helping understand and possibly break down matters to do with depression. And karibuni sana. I hope we will be able to learn together. Thank you.
All right. Now, nimesema kwa sasa yetu tukiongea about depression,
tuna mean a lot of things.
Yes.
But sasa unajua sasa wewe ndio mwenye hii maneno,
Yes.
you know, you studied this and all that. According to you, what is depression?
In the simplest terms that I want to define, so that a lay person can understand,
Yes.
I would want to say that depression is a mood disorder. When you're talking about a mood disorder, you're talking about it's more of a feeling.
Yes.
It's more of a it cannot be characterized by permanently being in a state. So what you can say, it's a mood disorder that is characterized by, one, you can have sadness, withdrawals, whereby somebody feels like they don't even have the energy to do whatever they love. It can also be characterized by irritation. It can be characterized by anger. But now the most that is defined is when people are feeling lawlessness. They'll be feeling the moment of feeling so low, and possibly you cannot even be able to pick the reason why you're feeling that. At times, depression can be, people miss or misdiagnose themselves by saying that they are suffering from depression. And in the actual sense, maybe somebody is feeling stressed.
Okay.
So whereby you want to say stress is when you have something that is making you feel like your normal operations are, or maybe the way you operate is being altered. You can have something as little as being late, from maybe getting to work late,
Yes.
causes you stress. But in many situations, you'll hear people talk about, I am depressed. Not being able to define the exact moment of what they are feeling. Yes.
So at what point should I say, or you know, from a specialist, will you know, go taking someone through maybe a few tests and then you'll approve, or you say this person, by the way, is depressed, and you know, it's not just the angle of this person is stressed and all that. So at what point do we agree that this person is depressed?
Depression needs a proper diagnosis.
Okay.
And in our field, we use what we call the DSM manual, what we call the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. That's the one that has the characteristics that it breaks down to define depression. But in many cases, people do their own self-diagnosis by possibly how they feel. They can state that they are feeling depressed. Maybe somebody has gotten to a place of lacking interest in maybe things that they used to love, loss of appetite. But what I'm saying is, it's not automatic to define depression, not unless diagnosed by a specialist. And maybe, I think there's so much that people now are getting from Google. One can be able maybe to go through the kind of symptoms that maybe one is feeling. But by the time you're getting to a place of admitting that you're feeling depressed, it's not automatic. So you'll be struggling with maybe migraines, you'll be struggling with lack of sleep, that is insomnia, you'll be struggling with poor appetite, or maybe overeating. And it gets to a place now, if you do not take a keen interest to understand what's happening to your body, to know whether you are being, maybe you have subjected yourself to some kind of stress, or maybe your level has now degenerated into what we call depression. Yes.
Amazing. And what are some of the triggers that causes, or the stimuli that causes depression?
Depression is caused by quite a number of things. So I'll just pick a few. Stress, as I had said earlier,
stress
can or should be moderated, because as we say, stress is good. But we are talking about, we need to define the kind of stress that we are talking about. There's what we call the positive stress, and there's a negative stress. So when you're talking about stress being good, we are talking about that little stress that motivates you into action. But when you're talking about the negative stress, that's little stress that motivates you into action is what we call positive stress. Maybe, for instance, you want to pass an exam. So what do? You work harder. So at times you'll be feeling, now this pressure is too much. But at the end of the day, what you're looking at is, what is the general, or what is the main goal that you'll achieve. So as you look into that, you are keen into understanding that I want to put my levels of stress to a certain level that it does not explode to become a problem.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about stress itself generating into a stress, we are talking about the negative stress. Negative stress can be brought about by quite a number of things. One, you might have something like a loss of a job. That's a loss of income.
Loss.
You're talking of loss and grief, whereby maybe you have lost a friend, a relative, a loved one, and then you have to go through the processes of grieving, whereby you realize that now your stress is now becoming a hindrance to your normal living. And then you're also talking about looking at the stress from an angle of whereby if you are not keen enough to understand at what point it now starts affecting you, then you realize that that's where the negative or the negativity starts in. So that one can, if not checked, can generate into depression. Number two, we can talk about depression being caused by usage of drugs. And when you're talking about drugs, you're talking about one, we have two types of drugs. We have the normal drugs that are usually abused, and then we have the psychoactive drugs that are prescribed by a physician.
Yes.
Which even the normal psychoactive drugs are actually at times abused. So when you're talking about the drugs that might lead to depression, you're talking about the drugs that are abused, possibly something like marijuana, you're talking about cocaine, you're talking about heroin, the drugs that are used to alter your normal functionality. So continued usage of those drugs can alter your body system, leading to a place of dependency. And the moment you get into a place of dependency, it now turns you into what do you call it? A dependent of the drug. So it can lead you into the place of depression when you now want to win. Possibly, maybe you're not able to do without the drugs, or maybe in the processes of trying to wean yourself off the drugs, and you cannot be able to wait enough for the period to be able to wean yourself off well. So of course it will cause some element of stress, which can deeply or extend to become what we call a depression. Number three, we are talking about terminal illnesses. When you talk about terminal illnesses or the chronic illnesses, you're talking about things like cancer. Cancer can lead someone into depression. People who are suffering from diabetes, kidney failure, it can get to a place of depression because one is getting to a place of understanding that they are dealing with a long-term illness. So when somebody is going through that challenge of handling or dealing with chronic illness, if they are not guided well, which in many cases people do not get the support, because at some point people usually get so tired. Basically, you are dealing with somebody with a chronic illness, and then you're like, okay, you're all worried about the money, you're all worried about will they get well even if after spending all this money, going to hospital after the other. It can get you to a place of depression. And when you're talking about the terminal illness, we also want to look at who does it affect. The terminal illness can affect both the person who is ill and the people who are supposed to be offering the support. So depression can come to either of them, because if you are the one who's offering support and you're looking at the finances, they are dwindling by the day, and you're looking at, we had 1 million, now it's gone. Where do we get the amount? We need to take the patient for chemo, we need to take them for radio, we need to take them for an operation, and then the money is running out. You can get to a place of depression if you're not given the right support. Then we are also looking at also lifestyle. What kind of a lifestyle are we talking about? Whereby you might be up there today, tomorrow you're down there. So the perspective of where I was the day before yesterday to where I am today can also lead you to a place of depression. So it's important for one to be able to understand what kind of a life that they are leading, so that in case they start getting to a place of dependency, because initially what happens especially in issues to do with lifestyle, you'll find people wanting to cope with what we call a negative coping mechanism. And which are the negative coping mechanisms? You look at alcohol. Okay. You can also find people getting into drugs. And when they get into drugs, you are not conscious enough to know how much of these drugs you're supposed to take to contain your stress, or maybe the kind of substance. So you'll find people getting into the dependency of alcohol, getting into dependency of these whatever the negative drugs, and all those things can build or work towards causing someone to fall deeper. If they were slightly, or maybe they were stressed, they can easily fall into depression.
Yes.
Yes.
You've mentioned something to do with our coping mechanism.
Yes.
And we have defense mechanism as well.
Yes.
And some of the defense mechanism that personally I'm aware of is probably denial.
Yes.
And you will tell someone, by the way, there is something wrong with you. I don't know if it's at the right time, a right time to tell someone there is something wrong with you, or probably you'll tell us later. Okay. But you tell someone, I think there is a problem, and somebody will be like, no, niko sawa, I'm okay. You know, the place of denial, and probably if someone is a sanguine, you know, that loud personality, extrovert, they know very well when they come, you know, when they come outwardly and, you know, they bring that kind of depressed face, people will, so they tend to behave normal, but probably when they are not around people, they will now do the withdrawing and, you know, the crying and all that. What can you say about those kind of habits? Are they healthy?
A defense mechanism is negative. I would want to say, and there's a big difference between a defense mechanism and a coping mechanism.
Okay.
To define a defense mechanism, it's allow me to use this word. When your ego is above the advice, when you feel like, why should I be subjecting myself to whatever they are saying? So yes, you'll find people walking through a path that I am in charge of my life.
Yes.
I'll drink myself to death. It's not your money.
It's
I
not
can
your liver.
yes, it's not your liver. Yes, there's that narration that people usually say. It's mine. It's my body. I can do whatever I want to do with my body. And then possibly maybe later in life, this person comes to realize that, oh, the kind of advice I was being given was actually supposed to save me. Yes. So initially, when you're talking about defense mechanism, it's a negative strategy to counter maybe an advice.
Okay.
When you're talking about a coping mechanism, a coping mechanism is one that we talk. Okay. Though not necessarily to run away, but it can also be a situation whereby we are talking about, I am suffering. So I want to do to get something that will help me cope with the situation. It can be a positive coping mechanism, or it can be negative. So in this sense, whereby we are talking about the negative coping mechanisms, people going through stress, or possibly somebody going through an element of depression, would want to run into the easy way. And which are the easy ways? You'll find people running into alcohol.
Yes.
I don't know what is the relationship between alcohol and stress, but it seems to be an easy way out for many people, whereby you'd hear somebody tell you, I just want to drink and forget about what I'm dealing with. But the reality is this person will not forget. And that's now where you try to bring some sense into them, that try to tell this person, you know you are drinking, but your problems will remain. What will they tell you? Now they get into what we call the defense mechanism.
Okay.
And the defense mechanism, they tell you know what? It's my money.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want to do with your money, but mine, I've chosen to drink. Okay?
Yes.
So that is one of the coping mechanisms that people easily fall into, alcoholism. I still mention about the drugs. Okay?
Yes.
I first want to mention about the negative ones. And also irresponsible living. And when I talk about irresponsible living, is Kenyans love to party, the partying culture.
Yes.
And when you're talking about the partying culture, if you look back, it's not about partying. It's about something that someone is fighting with.
Forgetting something.
You want to forget about something. Possibly you might have gone through some traumas when you're growing up. You might have gone through some pain. You might be facing frustrations at work. You might be having a bad marriage.
Yes.
But now you want to go and drown yourself in a place that you will want first for the moment. You just experience your own world.
Yes.
You don't want to be in a place whereby you'll be thinking about the bad marriage that you're going, or maybe the troublesome marriage that you're having, the stresses at work, the politics in the office, maybe the traumas that you ever went through as a child,
Yes.
the failures that maybe you have endured, and people keep reminding you of the things that have not brought you to where you are. Look at the peer pressure that we are also handling right now. You want to drive the best car, you have no salary. You want to live in the best house, you don't have money.
Yeah.
And then the people that you are with in school, or people that you started life with, are up there. You don't know what they have been doing. But at the end of the day, what do you want to do? I want to console my mind that I'm okay.
Yeah.
But because I cannot be able to console my mind when I'm sober, I'll not go and console my mind that I'm sober when I'm seated watching TV. I would want to go and console myself when I'm drowning the bottle.
Yes.
And it tends to happen. It happens that now with the continuous usage of it, where do you get to? You'll get to a place of dependency.
Yes.
Whereby you cannot do without the drink. You cannot do without, if it's smoking, maybe even cigarettes.
Yes.
Cigarettes are also addictive. Marijuana is also addictive.
Yes.
It gets to a place that you have to use marijuana, have to use the cocaine, the hashish, and all those, the injections that the people get to.
Yes.
And then you see what happens is you get to graduate with time. So as you are trying to find that coping mechanism, the negative one, you will find yourself now moving from the normal level into a higher level.
Yeah.
Those were negative coping strategies that I was talking about. There are also positive strategies.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, you have a hobby, which you have not had an opportunity to exercise.
Yes.
So if you want to cope from a stressful, or maybe you are facing depression, or maybe you are getting into a place of depression, there are people, and we actually advise, or maybe try to encourage people to take the positives, however small they might be.
Yes.
Trying to elevate it from as little as the little position that it is. Try to elevate it. Maybe if it's a hobby, maybe you might be an athletic person.
Yes.
Engage in athletic activities. Maybe you have hobby activities like cooking. I have a friend actually, or somebody that I know, that is now doing cakes and doing those breads and everything, and it was brought about when she was going through a depressive phase. I've also seen people doing music.
Yeah.
And actually, coincidentally, some of the best musicians even in the world can actually tell you how I noticed my talent.
Yes.
Was when I was going through a depressive phase, and I decided to hide myself in music. So those are positives.
Wow.
There are quite a number of positive coping mechanisms, but in their actual sense, people are not so quick to run to the positive.
Yes.
Because I think positive comes with a lot of effort. So when you tell me, let's go drink, it's all about, are we walking or are we driving? Are we boarding an Uber, or we are taking a mat? But if you tell me to go and bake a cake,
It's work.
it will work. It's work. If you tell me to go and play, maybe play football, it's work, because I cannot just come out from the house and go and play football. I need to exercise.
Yeah.
I'll need to create a routine. If you tell me to be waking up in the morning and doing the jog, it means I'll deny myself sleep in the morning.
Yeah.
Unlike the way you tell me, get this bangi here and just do a puff. It's very easy. Take
that's
these
smart.
bottles and drown this alcohol. It's different. Yes.
Amazing. Wow. Do children get into depression?
Yes. Children get into depression. The only thing is that the caregivers are not so quick
To notice.
to understand that kids can get into depression.
And by kids, what age are we really referring to?
A notable age is when you can be able to comprehend.
Okay.
But maybe for a small toddler, maybe a kid who is 2 or 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you may not be able to comprehend.
Yeah.
But I want to believe that from the age of 5, whereby you can be able to communicate with that child, they can easily be able to pick the elements of, they can be able to absorb the problems and maybe internalize them, because depression is also about internalizing the issues. We are going through a very turbulent phase, even
Yes.
in homes and in marriages. And whatever is happening in the presence of the kids.
Yeah.
So where you are, you think that your beef with your spouse does not trickle down to the children,
Yes.
but it does. So basically what happens is that that child will internalize that. They may not be able to echo it out, but that one now will become what we call childhood traumas. When that child becomes maybe of age, they might be able to wean themselves off when the situation might change.
Yeah.
But going through a depressive phase also affects children. It's only that some may not show it, because you see children have the short-term memory.
Yeah.
But among the elements of the short-term memory, there will be bits and bits that will be transferred into the long term. So that when this child is 20 years, they will remember something that happened to them
Yeah.
when they were 5 or they were 10 years old. So yes, children, in short, I would want to give a definition or to give an explanation to that, yes, children go through depression, and just as adults,
Yeah.
they need care. They need to be seen by a counselor. They need to be spoken to. But I've realized that even where I work, kids are not a preference to be brought to counseling. But people will come to you and they tell you, "Enyewe, this is what I'm dealing with, and I'm dealing with a lot of pain, I'm dealing with a lot of challenges," and they will not be quick enough to think, "Okay, fine, I'm coming from the same environment where the child is,
Yes.
so I need to bring them for therapy." So you'll come and you feel, "Now I'm good.
Yeah.
My husband and I are fine." Okay, and I will leave the child. And then later in life, you start seeing that child manifesting the behaviors of a troubled child.
Okay.
There's also something that I also want to remind, possibly maybe capture,
Yes.
and say, we have a disorder called conduct disorder. Conduct, behavior.
Yes.
Because when you talk about behavior, we are talking about learning and unlearning. So what is this that you have taught this child? What has this child seen and internalized?
Yeah.
Never to bring it out. So you'll be seeing that child acting weird. Okay?
Yes.
Because they will try to echo out the feelings that they were not able to talk to the parents who are the source of pain. They will not be able to echo it out to you. They will not be able to echo it out to another guardian. They will not be able to do it in school. So it will be manifested in behavior. They'll go to school and that child is very unruly. Okay?
Yes.
That child wants attention. And how do they seek attention in school?
Noise making.
They can make noise. They can be the bullies. Because basically what this child is trying to communicate is that I am not okay.
Yes, yes.
So they will have a conduct that will show you that this person is not okay.
Yes.
But what do we do? Expel the child from school. Invite the parents. Let them be punished. That is the kind of upbringing that has been there in the past. But now with the way we are learning things, we would want now to maybe change the tandem and possibly now give them a different direction. When you see a child behaving in a certain way, then get to dig back.
Yeah.
Where does this child come from? Okay? What might have happened to the child back at home? Or even if you are at 30,
Yeah.
what might have happened to you as you are growing up? Yes.
Amazing. We are having a set of workers,
Yes.
professionals, let me say teachers, doctors, counselors, and we are having a lot of reports of professionals committing suicide.
Yes.
And of course, falling in the category of being depressed and all that.
Yes.
What is the cause? Do you have an issue with our working areas? Working areas, is it too overloading, or what's the problem?
A clear statement to define that would say that doctors, nurses, counselors, psychologists,
Yes.
psychiatrists, and caregivers,
Yes,
those
generally.
people who fall under what we call the helping profession, are in a place whereby their emotions are kind of ignored, whereby I am suffering,
Yes.
but because I'm a caregiver, nobody would look at me with the need that I need help. And whereby everybody is looking at you as a very strong person.
Yes.
We have had cases actually as late or as early as today. There was a lady who, I don't want to go into details because I don't want to be the source of such information. But yes, there is a psychiatrist
Yes.
who is working in a certain level, one of the level 5 hospitals in the country, who committed suicide and left a suicide note. And a few months back, we had a doctor, I think in somewhere in Nakuru,
Yes.
who committed suicide and actually killed the children. As in, if I want to pick the numbers, they are increasing by the day.
Yes.
But we are at a place whereby we want to forge an image
Correct.
that everybody should know that Daniel is a very strong man. And so, in the image of the world, I'll come and present myself as a blameless person, a perfect person, someone who has everything figured out,
Yes.
somebody who has solutions to every problem. But at the end of the day, you are ailing. And then there's also the shame of who do I go and tell? Myself, I'm a professional. And so people are looking at me as one with every solution. Yeah?
Yeah.
Be it a marital issue, Daniel will give a problem, will give a solution. A loss and grief issue, he'll give up. Even you even find like for instance, I in my profession,
Yes.
I'll find myself giving counsel to even matters that are totally out of counseling.
For example.
For example, somebody will go and squander his money through gambling. Somebody will take a loan and finish all that money through betting. And then they are here.
Daniel, you must
Daniel, you must have a solution. And now what do? I will strain to give them a solution. Because possibly this might not even be a situation that I have ever dealt with.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you must create a solution according to them.
Yes.
So what happens? I'll come to you and I'll give you the advices and tell you what you're supposed to do, give you the nitty-gritties and everything. But then when I go back to my house and I'm like, okay, fine. I'm talking about financial stability to people, yet I'm not financially stable. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that everybody who is in these professions is also being paid so well.
Yes.
Okay?
True.
So what will happen is that you'll be solving people's problems. Look at the doctors.
Yeah.
They seem to have every solution. You go with a sore throat and they'll treat you. Okay?
Yeah.
So you go with any ailment and you'll be given referrals. This doctor can do, this doctor can do, this doctor can do. And somebody asked me, have you ever seen a doctor admitted in hospital? And I was like, yeah. By the way, I think I've never thought about it. Or now, to where we are, for instance, like counselors,
Yes.
there is what we call supervision, whereby I have listened to your grievances, I've listened to your issues, in a day you have dealt with 5 people. Where do I go and filter that out?
You must filter.
Yes, you must filter it out by getting somebody now whom will guide you on how, one, to handle issues relating to counseling, how you need to follow in terms of executing cases successfully. Number 2, you also want to go out and filter out whatever you've been talking, you've been receiving, because you don't want to just fill your heart in with a lot of things.
Correct.
You don't want to fill your mind with a lot of things, because today somebody will come and tell you, you know, my wife just stabbed me and I'm actually recovering in hospital. Then the other one calls you and tells you, know, my husband strangled me. The other one calls you again and tells you, know, my dad just killed my mom, you know, that kind of things. You'll hear, and then you see the negative news are just way too many. And then you even look at our media houses. They are so good with gathering the negatives, because I think the negatives are more enticing than the good news. So if we are not conscious enough to get to a place of understanding that you, whether you're a nurse, a psychiatrist, a doctor, anyone, even pastors. Look at even pastors, they're also going through their own pain. But do you imagine a pastor, for instance, whoever was preaching here, going out now to the congregation and now they realize that our pastor has a problem. So
our pastor is depressed.
Our pastor is depressed. Our pastor, the wife to our pastor just left.
Yes.
You know, and then this is the same person. And then this is the same person who next Saturday is supposed to solemnize a wedding. Yet his wife is not at home. So what will he do? He will try to hide as much. Okay? And they will try to show the world that I am okay. And anybody who tries to come and tell them, you know, you need help, they will be like, I'll have to dig so deep. You'll have to dig so deep to understand that Daniel has a problem. Because I never allow myself to show that I have a point of weakness.
Correct.
So basically, when we are talking about deaths, through suicide, people losing themselves in those substances, maybe the ones that we are calling the negative coping mechanisms, and all those other negative aspects that define an irresponsible living. It's not coming from a place of happiness. It's coming from a place of pain. And so as we walk through this journey, being able to identify oneself as your own resource in terms of building your own capacity, in terms of building your own energy, building your own formula of this is what works for me. As a doctor, as a psychiatrist, as a counselor, as a psychiatrist, we need to get to a place of understanding that yes, we are all human. We all need help. Okay, and which is very very untypical of people, especially because they feel I have too much knowledge. Okay. That's why I was telling you. Yes, no, not even Google. I have studied enough.
I'm informed.
So I know what works out. If it's a doctor and he's having an issue to do with body aches and muscle aches, he can prescribe for himself. But who tells you that the only problem that can lead to the muscle aches and everything, you can be going through depression, and it's now manifesting itself through the body aches. You can be going through a kind of stress that is affecting you. Then you are easy to prescribe for yourself. So we need to get to a place whereby people will understand that we all need help. Yes.
Amazing. And now let me put you now on the spot.
Yes.
So that we don't mentioning doctors, counselors. What about Daniel? I believe in this journey, you know, of being a counselor, you've encountered different situations. Probably you've been depressed. We'd love to hear your story. What's your story?
Wow. Yes, I have had a taste of what depression feels like.
Okay.
And it's a place that nobody would want to go back to, or maybe want to go to, because you are this big man in the society, and people look up to you as a role model. And as I was saying, being in a place whereby you feel so helpless, and the people who are surrounding you are looking up to you, it's not an easy place to be in. I didn't get into a deeper place of depression, but back in 2018, I experienced what depression feels like.
I think ukiwa umeanza hivyo, we'll have to take a very short break, you know, as you take some time, and then we'll be back with full details. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after the break.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard of cases in the society of people murdering their spouses and their children? What about human beings throwing themselves off buildings? In our universities today, it's a den of crime. Students in drugs, students in habits like homosexuality, which also cuts across in our society today. What do you think? Is there anyone to blame? Do you think it's a major issue in our society? Welcome to the Divulge show, a show whereby we unmask matters happening in the society, matters which the society shies away from speaking about. And this is a place where we'll journey with you as an individual and largely in the society to find the healing of the soul and the empowerment of the spirit. My name is Kesh Susan, and I will be your host every Tuesday from 9:30 to 11:30 here at Nisi Television, where we transform life through media. Welcome to the Divulge show.
Handa itunda rĩa wega mũtũrĩre-inĩ waku, utakwenda kumenya no kaũrĩha, ona ngĩkorwo. Mimi naitwa Zakare Njoroge, muimbaji wa nyimbo za Injili, na unatazama Nisi TV, the house of rest. muturire-inĩ waku ũtekwenda kũmenya no ũkaũrĩra ona angĩkorwo mbego cio.
Yesu kasema mimi ni mzabibu wa kweli, naye Baba yangu ndiye mkulima. Tawi lote lizaalo litapaliliwa, lile ambalo halizai litakatwa. Mimi ni mzabibu wa kweli, naye Baba yangu ni mkulima. Mimi ni mzabibu wa kweli, naye Baba yangu ni mkulima. Bwana asifiwe sana wapendwa. Majina yangu naitwa Mbogwa GK, nimeokoka. Mimi ni mwimbaji wa nyimbo za Injili, na ukitaka kubarikiwa na huo wimbo wangu mzabibu, uta SMS jina Skiza 1069056, kisha utume huo ujumbe kwa 811 na utakuwa umejipatia Skiza tune yangu ya wimbo mzabibu, na Bwana atakuwa amekubariki sana. Bwana awabariki nyote. Wa kweli, naye Baba yangu ni mkulima, kila tawi lisilozaa uliondoa, na kila tawi.
You are now watching Nisi Television, House of Rest.
Karibuni sana. This is the Divulge show. My name is Kesh Susan, and today we're talking about mental health. What you didn't know, what I didn't know, what we didn't know about depression. And of course, the bigger covering of that is mental health. Ninaona Shiroshish, we have Paul, we have Bro Louis, we have Peter, Miriam, Alfayo, Samuel, Wamboi, Gideon, Elizabeth, Cecilia, Justus, Kefa wanasema wako tuning. Big up even the location that you're watching us from, na ni ya baraka tena sana. Because of time, we'll quickly go back to the story, na itakuwa ya baraka tena sana. 2018.
Yes. I went through my own journey.
Yes.
And it's important for me to start here. When I was growing up,
Yes.
My mother and any other mother teaches their children to be men.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have grown up with both parents, and in many instances, of course, it's the mother who is usually closer to the children.
Correct, than the father.
Than the father. My dad used to work away from us, where we used to live, and so I believe the values and the mannerisms, of course, were taught to me by the mother.
Yes.
By my mom. So I grew up hearing, in case you would fall down and cry, you are castigated for crying, and you are reminded that you are a boy.
Yes.
You are reminded that boys don't cry. So if you remind me that boys don't cry, at the age of 5,
Yes.
what am I supposed to do? I'm just a child. That is one mistake that I would say grew up believing that I am a man. That I shouldn't show the society
Emotion.
or show the world that I have emotions.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, what are you dealing with? You're dealing with pain, just like a female child would go through. So I endured my own challenges.
Yes.
And then, having now grown up with the same mentality, that I'm not supposed to show emotions, I'm not supposed to show my weakness, I'm not supposed to shed tears, because if I shed tears, I'll be told I'm crying like a girl.
Yeah.
It now graduates with you as you continue to grow. And so, over my years, I have endured a lot of challenges.
Yes.
As an individual, on a personal level. And I think the test of time came in 2018 when I I was going through a tough financial season.
Yes.
Not that I misappropriated any monies, but it was out of an investment that didn't go according to plan. And I thank God because it's an investment that is still standing today. I was able to weather the storm, but it really took me back. And it's a time that we had just finished setting a home, and you've already spent some money in setting up a home. Now then you go and set up a business that consumes basically all your savings with the intention or with the hope that these monies will eventually start coming back within a short time. And it wasn't an easy place to be in. I endured those low moments whereby you are used to having whatever you'd want. Of course, you have money in the account. Now you are at a place whereby, yes, you can see the investment, but the investment is in form of chumas, concrete. So even if you are to liquidate the investment, you'd only liquidate it and sell it as scrap. Okay? Yes. So it got to a point whereby the investment became a source of pain for me. And it took long for me to understand that you can plan to do something today, execute it with all your energies, only for you to realize that it backfires against you. And in such a situation, I would say, had I not had resilience and God, I would have gone a direction many usually go, possibly even committing suicide. Okay, I never got to that place of attempting or maybe thinking in that direction. But I'm only saying, had I not been strong enough in terms of one, at least I had the advantage because I had just finished my psychology degree. So I had an idea of how to take care of myself. But you know, you cannot be at a safe space whereby you need to move on with your life by providing. As a family person, as a family man, you're not in a place to provide in the right way. You're not in a place whereby the normal luxuries are now forthcoming. You're at a place now you have to learn to adapt to a new life. You're at a space that you are so used to using a vehicle, driving yourself. Now you have to adapt taking a matatu because you have to get to the bottom for you to start building afresh. So I got to that space in life. And it wasn't an easy journey for me. And I lost weight because I couldn't eat. I wasn't sleeping. I actually would sit from, I get home maybe by 10, sit all the way until the alarm rings at 5. I'm actually seated just flipping through the TV channels, and you're just going through your own pain. Your partner doesn't seem to understand what you're going through. After all, what is the big fuss? As in, you seem to be doing okay. And so in many situations, you need a proper support system. Else, if you lack the proper support system, you'll go down. And many people that are going down through depression and hearing that the end result is suicide, many of them lack the proper support. So had I not had the knowledge of what depression is through now my training as a psychologist, I think I would have gone down the drain. Whereby you find that you are trying to look for solutions within yourself, not being able to echo it out to the people. And then you see, you also get to realize that you have very few friends that you can turn to. I can actually say that in 2018, I realized that I had been watering very many dead plants. Friendships that you've been financing people because they need some little money here. Somebody calls you, I need some money, I need some money, I need some money. And you're always looking for solutions for them. Wait until that time hit. And you realize that somebody who had once borrowed you 10,000 cannot even finance you with 1,000 shillings. And it's unfortunate for you to get to that space. But I thank God because I walked through the journey to a place of now understanding that now I have to create a solution from within. And I have to be positive about life. I had to go through a process of bitterness because you are becoming, you have realized that the people that you have been working with are no longer even supporting you.
Yeah.
Yeah? You get to a place and you realize that you are all alone.
Yeah.
How are you alone? You are no longer resourceful to people. You are no longer of importance.
Yes.
Yes. So whatever they were getting from you, there is no more. So it's up to you na Mungu wako. So basically, I walked through that journey. And coming out of it, and possibly now relating to what the cases I'm handling every day at my workplace.
Yes.
People are in a place of pain. People are in a place of desperation to get out of it. And I can assure you, Kesh, by the time somebody is taking a rope and hanging themselves, that is the only solution that they feel works best for them. Because at that onset, death is sweet. That person has looked around and felt that they are the worst in the society. They have no solution. Yes, where they are standing, they can look at the end and see that's where I want to be. But the question is, between here and where I want to be, what resources do I have? Zero. Who are on my side? Zero. As in, you look at life and you ask yourself, is this the journey that I treaded all those years for me to come and just be stuck here?
Yeah.
So anybody who is going through depression, as I want to communicate, there is hope.
Maybe you can look at this camera and speak to someone going through depression.
Yes, I'm trying to say this,
Yes.
that anyone going through a depressive phase or somebody who is going through depression, there is hope.
Yes.
In this sense, one, first accept the situation that you're handling. The moment you're able to accept the situation that you're handling, you will easily be able to internalize it and be able to find solutions from within. Okay?
Yes.
You might have a lot of hopes on the support that you might be, it's supposed to come along your way. I've given an instance of whereby I was looking at people who would offer me support.
Yes.
Because basically my stresses were all but financial. And at times I would even sit and think, okay, fine. You know, that's the time that you get the most weird ideas. Yeah, you even try to imagine of somebody who just comes and pops in and visits your office and gives you 100,000 from nowhere. Where would you get such money? But because you have allowed your mind to think in that direction, whereby your desperation is, my desperation was money. Okay, I wouldn't say that I've been able to come out of the money challenges, because it's an ongoing process. But I am at a better space whereby I have come to appreciate that I got to that space and it had to teach me its own lessons.
Yes.
So people go through depression, people are going through pain, marriages are breaking, kids are becoming hostile even to their parents, kids are becoming unruly, uncontrollable, and if a parent is not keen enough to understand why the unruliness is there in the child, they may look at a rebellious child, but in the actual sense, this child is fighting something. It might not even be the outcome of whatever is happening as at now, but it might be as a result of maybe a past trauma, a past challenge that maybe was in the family, or maybe even trauma, even abuse in schools that kids are enduring. They are also going through pain. And if those kids, especially the kids, if they're not able to talk it out, then you realize that they'll continue being secluded. They just live a very silent life. So my thinking is, we need to get to a place whereby we sensitize ourselves, we sensitize our children on need to speak out. That is the only solution that you, before it even gets to the place of treatment, let somebody first understand that I am going through pain. And define the kind of pain that you're going through. Understand the kind of pain that you're going through. And try to trace back and ask yourself, where might this have started? Because even if you are to do counseling, you must get a root cause.
True.
Yeah? So you have to define the problem and be able to understand, okay, fine, since when did I start feeling this way? Okay? Are there times that I'm feeling different from the way I'm feeling right now? So being able to define the issue that you might be handling, or what you are handling, is the core to healing. Yes.
Amazing. Oh, you've spoken about children with their unruly behavior and the root cause being depression and all that. Why do we have children in the society who find it difficult to speak out until they're just kids? Is it an issue with parenting?
Okay, a good question. Parenting plays a role. Personality plays a role. The environment also plays a role. We are a result of our upbringing. It's important to talk about what we call the nature and the nurturing system, whereby we are talking about the nature, we are talking about the environment, and the nurturing, or what we call the nurture, is the upbringing. Kesh is a definition of an upbringing system within a certain environment.
Correct.
One, were you exposed in your environment? Okay. What kind of homestead did you grow up in? Was it a kind of a home whereby you would talk and you'd be listened to? Or was it the kind of a home whereby you'd talk and you'll be punished for talking? Okay. So if a child is castigated for talking, what they do is, because they fear punishment, they will hold.
And it grows with them.
And it goes with them, yes. So what you do is you kill the morale and the esteem of the child, because you're not giving them an opportunity to talk. And so this child will go and see something wrong in school, but because you are used, or you are fond of attacking, or maybe not giving them an opportunity to talk, this child will never be confident enough to come and tell, you know what, ma'am, this is what I witnessed in school. Because they'll never filter out what is positive to say and what would lead them to be punished. So at some point, they need to have a balance whereby you can let this child get to know that I'm your friend. Come and tell me anything. I'm your friend. Because if I don't give you that arena, there'll come a time that somebody else will give you that arena. And what will happen? You will run to that person. So in cases whereby you have had tough upbringing, children not being able to talk, parents who think that they are going to seclude their own children and confine them in a home setup, whereby I've actually even heard of parents who are opting to do what we call homeschooling to their children. The reason, I don't want my children to go out there and interact with people who do not have morals. But do you have your own world? No. At the end of life, possibly maybe at some point in life, these kids will come out. And what they come out with? They come out with, now, let me try what I have been stopped from the entirety of my life. So they will come out and do the worst thing. And then you'll be like, why are you shaming me, yet I taught you mannerisms? You didn't teach me mannerisms. You confined me. I never integrated with the people that would have taught me who a child, or how a child should behave. Okay? So that's why nowadays, if you look at the kind of parenting that we are doing right now, and the one that our parents did, it's important that we have actually gotten to a place that now kids have been given a lot of leeway. Even the behaviors have actually changed, whereby you are seeing kids are becoming more, right now, for instance, you're a teacher yourself. You cannot beat a child. You cannot do corporal punishment in school. Reason, we are being told that there are alternative ways of negotiation, mediation, whereby you are told that you can negotiate with a child and tell them, make them understand what they have done is wrong. Okay? So if you're talking about being able to echo out whatever they are feeling, we need to give them a right environment. That this child will know that if I tell my parent, be it my dad or be it my mom, if I tell them this way, it's not gonna work against me. So, but in many instances, that's not been, it's not being practiced even in many homes. So you'll find those kids remain silent. Then the moment they get an opportunity to pop out and go and visit the world, because you will teach your children with all the kind of mannerisms. Teach them everything that you want them to learn. But what will they do? You teach your child with, and give them a lot of mannerisms. Then when they go out into the public, maybe high school or maybe a boarding school, they go and meet a child whose life is as in they live like as if they live in a jungle. And you see, you cannot filter that.
Yes.
Because you cannot choose and say, now I want my kid to only go to an institution that has similar kind of parenting that I did to my kids.
Yes.
So yours has morals, but it's going out there to meet one who does not have morals. So what happens? Their morals are corrupted.
Yeah, sure.
And so at the end of the day, you'll be like, was it really necessary for me to confine my children to a private setup? Yeah? Yet, when they get out to the world, they become so unruly.
True.
Yes.
Do you have something like parents being absent emotionally in the lives of their children, whereby they will be there financially to provide, spiritually to give guidance, academically even to do homework and pay school fees in time, but they are absent emotionally?
Yes. When it comes to parenting,
yes,
we want to define parenting in a number of ways. There is basically what you're asking is about the neglect aspect, yeah.
Okay.
Whereby we have different types of parenting. We have an authoritarian parent. Okay. We have an authoritative parent. Yeah.
Yes.
We have what we call a neglectful parent. Being in a setup of a neglectful parent
yes,
does not necessarily mean the parent has neglected you. But you're looking at the element of having a parent who can be providing everything that you need.
Yes.
But is not there emotionally, has no time for you. But because at the end of the day, what are we doing? Look at what COVID came and did to us.
Yes.
It exposed us that money is not everything.
True.
Previously, we were thinking money can define happiness.
Yes.
And so what we used to do is that, have I paid school fees? Tick. Do we have food in the house? Tick. Do we have meat 5 kgs? Tick. So even if a child who maybe is in boarding school
yes,
comes over the holiday and tells you, Dad, I want to have a talk with you, you'll be like, haven't I paid school fees? Haven't I given you nice shoes?
Yeah.
Haven't I bought you clothes? But you see, that's not what the child wants. So there are so many neglectful parents. So many neglectful parents who do not define what the child wants, but they have actually misinterpreted what the children want by providing what we call material possession. Yes.
Wow. Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the conversation, of course, on our social media platforms. The conversation is really, really engaging. We ninaona watu hapa wameanza kuuliza very, very, very serious parenting questions. Talk to us on our social media platforms, that is Nisi Television, Facebook Nisi Television, Instagram, across Nisi Television, itakuwa ya baraka tena sana. Now, on that point, about neglect, you can share with us your story on the social media platforms that I've mentioned. Tell us, how was your story, being raised up, tumeambiwa about nurture and nature. Talk to us, na itakuwa of course ya baraka tena sana. Back to you, Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Yes. The neglecting parent.
Yes.
That's what you're telling us.
Yes.
Yes.
Still talking about the neglectful parent. We are talking about, I wouldn't say money is bad.
Okay.
But we are in a space whereby we are thinking that all the children need is a good living. Okay? Whereby I wake up and leave the house at 5, leave my children in bed,
Yes.
go and work, come back at 10 p.m. and my kids are sleeping. Okay? I, being the parent,
Yes.
I'm supposed to teach my children the values. Where am I when these children are spending the whole day?
Okay.
They've woken up and left and found that I'm not in the house. I've already left.
Yes.
They go back to bed, I've not come home. But they will never lack sausages
In the fridge.
in the fridge. They'll never eat a meal without meat.
Yeah.
Okay? They'll never go to school without shoes. They'll be the best or the brightest kids in church.
Yes.
Yeah? Because they have very fancy clothes. Okay? So how would I now translate now the parenting aspect from material to the emotional aspect.
Okay.
That is what now we need to define.
Yes.
Whereby it has to be very intentional. Whereby a parent has to define how do I want my child to grow.
Yes.
Because if it's about money, money comes and goes.
Yes.
Okay? So it doesn't mean that because today you are living a very good life, it means that tomorrow if you don't have that means we all have to kill ourselves. It will get to a place whereby we have to find a balance, whether there is money or whether there isn't. The values and the morals will be instilled either way. So, but you see, unfortunately, the many parents that we have in today are at a place whereby we all think that what our kids need is a good life. But the question we ask ourselves, or we need to ask ourselves, do we have a conversation with those children and ask them, what do you want? Okay?
Yes.
So the moment you'll find your child confined and watching cartoon the whole day, okay?
Yes.
And then you get home and the first thing you tell them is that switch off that cartoon. Yeah? It's past bedtime. Go to bed. That is the only little time that you had to interact with that child.
Yeah.
So if you tell me to switch off the cartoon and come here, let's have a talk. How was your day? How is school? Do we have such talks? No.
No.
You're supposed to be in bed by this time. Tomorrow you're waking up early. I need you all to go to bed.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Kids wake up in the morning and Daddy, we were told by the teacher, okay, what is it? Why is it not captured in the diary? Okay, fine. What do you need? I'll send the mail to teacher. That's basically that's how we work.
Yeah.
And you realize we are losing the element of whereby there will be a certain loss in terms of the connection.
Correct.
And there is need for attachment with this child. The formation of attachment is through interaction with the child.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So the moment you have had an interaction with a child, you are going to instill them values. Confidence is built through the interaction. Okay?
Yes.
Values are built through the interaction with this child, giving them assurances, reminding them that they are good. Okay?
Yeah.
I look back at how we grew up. Every parent in every home used to say they used to be number one. So what have we been doing to our children? Causing a lot of unnecessary turmoil to their minds.
Yes.
Because when they are not performing in class, they are always thinking, why is it that I'm not performing? Yet my dad or my mom keeps reminding me that they used to be the best in school. So it is either because I'm not as good as my dad was when he was in school, I'll confine myself to the books. Okay?
Yeah.
So even if my dad is home, he'll never see me. Reason, I want to be like my dad. So I'll always be hiding in books. But what is happening within the life of that child? They are missing on great aspects of life.
Yes.
Interaction is lost.
True.
So you will at times find a teacher gets to know more about the child than the parent. Okay?
Yeah.
And so you'll be seeing a stranger in your house and you're looking at them and you're like, oh, your girl is now in teenage. You didn't even notice that her physical appearance is changing.
Yes.
Because you neglected them as you are looking for money. We need to change the dynamics.
Yes.
Let's be very intentional. Let's spend time with our children.
Yes.
Let's give them not the monetary, but the attention that they need. At times they don't even need the money. At times they don't even need that fancy, oh, go to KFC, go have pizzas and everything. At times they don't even have such.
Yes.
They want just to see you there at home. There's a story told of a child who never used to see the dad at home. And I think the child was like 3 or 4 because according to the story, she hadn't joined school.
Yes.
And so this particular day, be it a Monday or be it a Sunday, he never used to see the dad. And so the girl never had a moment to interact with the dad.
Yes.
But she always used to be reminded by the mom, you know, your dad is at work. Your dad is at work. Your dad is at work. And so this day, this girl is making a prayer. And she made a prayer to God and said, God, help dad lose his job so that he can be home. Okay? And that's where we are as parents.
Yeah.
Not defining whether it's the mother or the father.
Yes.
So we have confined the living of our children to the house managers. They are the ones we call the nannies, the house girls, whereby they seem to have a closer interaction with the children more than the parent does.
Yeah.
And so now you want to tell me that this child will learn the right morals. They will not. Okay?
Yes.
And in many situations, we have these house managers whom we do not fully trust
True.
to be in our homes. But they are defining
Yeah.
the kind of future.
They're shaping the...
You're actually shaping
Yeah.
my child. So it means if this person stays with me for 5 years,
Yes.
they will have interacted with my child for a whole 5 years and have given them their morals.
Yes.
Do you have a history of where their morals are?
No.
No. You don't know how this person grew up. You don't know what values,
The mindset.
the mindset, wherever this person is coming from. You do not have an idea what they hold values to. Okay?
True.
So you will find your children adopting new traditions
Yes.
that are not known to you, neither to the other parent. And what do? You quickly punish the child. Reason, that is not what is practiced in our house.
Yes.
Okay? But what is the express way of practice in this house? We do not know. There is no perfect practice that we have been taught by mom
Yes.
and dad. We live according to auntie.
Yes.
Okay? Because it's the auntie who knows when they come from school, whether they have taken a bath,
Yes.
whether they have eaten, whether their homework is done. I only come home, or the other parent comes home to just counter-check the homework
Yes.
and sign the diary. Imagine now this trend starting in lower primary. It goes to high school. And then this child is now left to go and join a university far away from home. What do you expect? Yeah?
It makes a lot of sense, yeah.
It makes a lot of yes. So we will not get to a safe space until now when we redefine parenting. And the moment we redefine parenting,
Yeah.
we have to be very intentional and say that, fine, I may not be perfect, but there is something that I will do to my child
Yes.
that will define their future. So how can I define their future today? It's by being involved in their lives.
Yes.
It's not about providing money. Money can be provided by anyone. Yes. And so the moment as we build towards giving a shape to these children,
Yes.
we are defining whether these kids will once commit suicide. Reason, the world has shown them something different
Yes.
from whatever they were taught.
True.
Is the world fair enough to absorb them when they are thrown out there?
Yeah.
When they have grown up without or with an irresponsible parent,
Yeah.
who receives them out there? So if you're not deliberate enough to teach your child the morals,
Yes.
they will be taught the wrong way. Okay? That's why you'll get into a university
Yes.
and you realize that every child, allow me to call them children,
Yeah,
because
they're
kids join university with as low as 18 years.
Yes, yes.
And they are living with
22, 23.
yes. But in the setup that they are living in, you'll find the majority of those children having partners that they are living with.
Yes.
Who taught them morals? The society is failing.
Yes.
Parents are failing. And so we have to get to a place whereby we say, fine, now we have to cut this.
Yeah.
Let's be deliberate. Let's be intentional.
Yes.
Let's be present. Let's provide the emotional support
Yeah.
that is needed for the children. Else, we will have kids growing into what we call zombies.
Yeah.
They will easily sink into depression. They will easily take drugs because how do I contain the pain that I no longer have a relationship with my mom?
Yeah.
How do I deal with the shame that I have no relationship with my dad at the age of 20, at the age of 25?
Yes.
So it has to be very deliberate and intentional. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Wow. We can take another question here. And let me get it. Someone is saying, hi, I'm loving the show. I have a question. Recently, we had a fight with my fiancée and she asked me several questions that are making me feel so less of myself. She feels I'm less of a man and I don't know my role as a man. When I try to complain for us to have time to talk, she calls me a crying baby. As a man, I feel hurt by these words. According to her, she's not apologetic for using these words. I have suffered from low self-esteem as a kid, and any negative word affects me so much. I feel like a loser, unwanted, and someone incapable of loving or being in love. What should I do?
Okay. He's talking about words spoken to him by a fiancé.
Yes.
Words can kill, and words are powerful. But what we need to ask ourselves is, where does this fiancé's background date back to?
Yeah.
Because I use a slogan and people laugh about it, that if you don't eat lions, you don't expect to meet one and it doesn't maul you. It will eat you.
True.
That's a basic truth. And whoever is watching and has ever heard me use that slogan, possibly they are laughing.
Yes.
We are coming from a space whereby people have, or actually people lost values long time ago.
Yes.
And if I'm to give a definition, this somebody who is possibly trying to build their self-esteem from a situation maybe that we don't know how he grew up.
Yes.
But he's in a place whereby he feels that his dignity has been eroded.
Exactly.
How is it that he can be able to get back into a place of acceptance, of maybe feeling appreciation for self? He doesn't need anyone's validation. That's the bottom line. Nobody needs to come and tell you you're not a man enough.
A
You're
crying
man.
baby.
Yes. He has the value to validate the words.
Yeah.
Either allow them to sink in or wish them away.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's always important for someone to get to raise out such issues with the person who has meted out those words. Because those are words that I would consider them maybe mean. It's only that now maybe you haven't heard from the other person to say, to get to a place whereby the argument led to a point, or maybe where the argument came and they had to get to a place of exchanging such words. But there is always need for you to get to talk to the other person. But in a situation whereby the other partner doesn't seem to understand that they have caused pain, do you work with that pain? No. What are you going to do? You are not going to abuse the person.
True.
So that you may feel that you have fulfilled an agenda. It's about talking it out, forgiving self.
Yes.
If there are areas that he needs to work on himself, let him work on himself.
Will you advise him to stay in that kind of environment? It seems he's not comfortable, or what do you think? Being around someone who constantly reminds you that you're not enough and you're not fit, in fact, for you're not man enough.
No,
So,
the definition of the definition of being fit can only be defined by the person raising the words.
Of course, the person has already said that.
Exactly. But you see, what I'm saying is,
Yes.
if I tell you a negative word, I'm viewing you from my perspective.
Exactly.
Okay? So I do not understand how I can force you to see things from my perspective.
True.
If the person feels that this man is not enough, what are they doing together? That's a question. Why would you be with somebody that you will always be reminding that you're not
That I'm
equal to the task?
Yeah.
Okay? If you are to stay in my life and always remind me that I'm not equal to my task, have I defined my roles? Have I defined my powers? Have I defined my limits?
Yeah.
Okay? But if you are always trying to remind me, you are not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough, you need to tell us, where is the definition of your enoughness?
Yes.
There is such a word in English.
Yeah.
Where is the definition of your completeness? If you feel that I'm a shallow person, then please let me live with my shallowness, because I value myself with that shallowness.
Someone else will
Yes,
appreciate.
exactly. We usually talk about of one man's meat being another one's poison, isn't it? So if you're trying to define your life based on what, maybe it's at times we find ourselves setting the bar so high, whereby you realize people are working towards an unattainable goal, and you don't know how to achieve them. Okay?
Yeah.
But what I would say is, even in relationships, you need to define, why am I with this particular person? That forms what we call them attributes.
Yes.
An attribute of being in a relationship is, one, are my needs being met? Why am I in a relationship with such a person? Why am I relating with them? Yeah, why do I need them? Okay, so if this person sits down and defines his relationship with this person,
Yes.
he needs to ask himself, is it worth? Because you also don't want to live the entirety of your life being reminded of how useless of a man you are at the end of the day. This will actually lead you to more stress.
We can take another one. Yeah.
Exactly. So the definition of happiness, of whether he is a man enough or not, can only come from him.
Yes.
Okay? That's what I can actually encourage him to tell him. Yes.
Someone else is saying, I'm David Ochieng, watching from, I think it's Lucky Summer. How much do you charge for counseling session and where are you located?
Okay. I am based in Garden Estate.
Okay.
And I run an organization or an office. My office is in Garden Estate. And it's called Desired Living Counseling and Consultancy. And charges differ.
Okay.
But what I would say is an average charge ranges from 2,000 to 5,000 shillings. Yes.
All right.
Yes. But so, I'll share out my contacts for anyone who would want to reach me out to.
Yes. Someone saying, hello, Kesh. Long time no see. Good to see you on TV. I'm Marion, tuned from Ngong. Enjoying the show. How do you deal with anger issues, Manze? I've tried it, but I cannot control it. Big up, Marion. Thank you for watching. Someone is saying, Manze, Asira. You know, anger issues. Yeah.
Anger is an end result. Let's say that.
Okay, there is a trigger.
Anger is an end result. So before we talk about, she said her name is Marion, right?
Yes.
So if we are addressing Marion, we would say that anger does not just sprout from nowhere. So there is a clear definition that possibly she needs to dig back into her life and be able to ask, where does this anger come from? Because if we were just to get angry out of nothing, then you'd realize that you wouldn't even be angry for long.
Yeah.
But for you to find yourself getting easily agitated, it doesn't. I don't want to say that she's depressed, but she must be dealing with a kind of stressor, a hidden stressor that may not be defined, or maybe she has never thought of it. I'll tell Marion to search her life, and possibly look back and see what is this that could be causing the anger, the irritation, the agitation. It's not just from nowhere. It's coming from somewhere. Yes.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a short break. We'll be right back, of course, to continue with the other segment of the Divulge. Thank you.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Hello, everybody. It's a sound of praise and worship
Jehovah,
to whom created us. Join me, Joy Temba, every Sunday morning from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. live on Nisi Television for live Sunday service that is filled with the presence of God through worship, word, and encouragement.
If you gotta be for me, we love you, Lord.
You only for.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard of cases in the society of people murdering their spouses and their children? What about human beings throwing themselves off buildings? In our universities today, it's a den of crime. Students in drugs, students in habits like homosexuality, which also cuts across in our society today. What do you think? Is there anyone to blame? Do you think it's a major issue in our society? Welcome to the Divulge Show, a show whereby we unmask matters happening in the society, matters which the society shies away from speaking about. And this is a place where we'll journey with you as an individual and largely in the society to find the healing of the soul and the empowerment of the spirit. My name is Kesh Susan, and I will be your host every Tuesday from 9:30 to 11:30 here at Nisi Television, where we transform life through media. Welcome to the Divulge Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, on our Facebook page now on our Davis Yungina Sasoma anasema tune in, I love the show. Beatrice Minor anasema informative, funny anasema tune here. We have Aggie anasema powerful. Shiro, great content on parenting. We have Njoki Ndegwa, great insights there. We have Morio wa Motero. Sawa sawa. My guy Daniel, I think you know this person.
Yes, I do.
Fabi Reinhardt and some are tuned in. Big up Fabi. Lillian and some are tuned in. Shiro. And then, of course, the list continues. Thank you, Sana, for each and everyone when you have opportunity. Na ame commit, to watch this great and informative content. Back to Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
How do you determine if depression is causing an illness or an illness is causing depression?
Wow. It's a good question.
Yes.
As we said earlier, is that an illness can cause depression.
Okay.
But when you're talking about the chronic diseases or maybe the chronic illness, whereby we are talking, for instance, let me pick cancer and maybe something like diabetes.
Yes.
These are some of the chronic or the terminal illness that we define as terminal illnesses. They can get to a place of causing depression. So when I'm answering this question, I would want to possibly define that an illness, an illness itself can cause depression.
Okay.
Because what happens to people who are suffering from the terminal illnesses, they usually look at end of life. Okay.
Yes.
So and in many instances whereby we have had especially cancer being diagnosed at a later stage, however complicated or maybe however advanced the treatment somebody goes through, the greater chance is that the finality is death. So in terms of internalizing and trying to absorb the reality that even if I stay for another 5 years, yes, we all will all leave this earth through death. But you see now this is through a terminal illness.
Yes.
That somebody is looking at, I'll be with this, I'll have this illness for this long duration, or maybe this short duration. I can die anytime. So that in itself is a stressor, and it actually can lead into depression. Then depression on its own can still cause an illness. Okay? And how I want to define it is in this way. Before it gets to somebody gets into a place of depression, you get through a place of stress.
Yes.
Okay? And in handling stress, the body tries to balance in terms of the body tries to fight. And it gives you what we call warnings into your body, whereby you might be going through a stressful situation. And what you realize is that you are having migraines, unending headaches, stomach upsets, okay? Acidity, backaches, okay? At times, people go to hospital and all manners of tests are run. And then what does it show? Nothing. So actually in such a setup, you realize that you are suffering from what we call psychosomatic disorders, or what we call somatoform disorders, which mean that now your body is now trying to alert you that you are going into an unsafe space. So if you don't get to a place of understanding what you are dealing with, you will get into depression. Okay?
Yeah.
And that depression, in its own, you might end up now start handling or maybe dealing with a permanent backache. Okay? You might be having a permanent, maybe permanent migraines. It might also get to a place whereby you will develop ulcers. I've had people talking about having developed ulcers because they went to depression or maybe went through a stressful situation.
Yeah.
So now, like for instance, the most common illness that is brought about by stress and maybe even depression is something like stomach ulcers. Yes. So that is the definition I can give between whether an illness can cause depression or depression can cause an illness.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's take another one. What are the plans and the efforts to improve treatment of depression in Kenya?
Okay. We are at a good space right now, though not yet. But the government now is actually waking up to the reality that we are living in a depressed state. Just last week, you saw the president commission a hospital, I think a 480-bed hospital in Kajiado. Right now, we have Chiromo. And previously we had Mathari. This is the Mathari, we used to call it Mathari Mental Hospital. And in a majority of the referral hospitals are now having what we call a psychiatric department, whereby they are handling cases of psychiatry. And we're also having a lot of psychologists being hired to try and mitigate the situation. Looking back to 2020, whereby COVID hit, and it really hit hard, that's a time now we realize that we had been living in a kind of, should I call it a bubble or something? That we were just living in a life whereby we felt we were okay because we had the money. I have a good job, so I'm able to provide, I'm comfortable. And now, until now, when it got to a place whereby we realized that the things that were keeping us busy were just what we call coverings. It's like coatings. And now this COVID came and now removed the coating, the poor relationships that were being sustained by money. Okay? The marriages that were sustained by provision. They were all killed because now you no longer provide. Okay? I no longer have that job that kept me busy. So I reduce my interaction by being away from home. And so I will be seen, when I come home, I have very little interaction with the spouse and with the children. And so your presence is felt. But until now it came to a point that your presence, actually people say that they overstayed. They overstayed. There is nowhere to go. There is not, even football was not being played. All those games came to a standstill. And now people are home. Mental illnesses were actually discovered in people. Okay? People who had never shown signs of stress now started exhibiting stress. Okay? People who had never shown signs of bipolar started the indications of bipolar. Aggressiveness, anger, irritation, okay? Fights every day in homes. So basically what we are saying right now is that the government has actually woken up. And then there's the other advantage about the mental health bill that has eventually been passed. And now that one is going to help us in being able to fight and be able to put mental health in the right place. But there needs a lot of sensitization that is really needed. Like for instance, having such shows frequently and talking about mental health is needed. And we are having even visitations in churches, in learning institutions whereby people can be sensitized. But initially what we can say is the government itself has actually set up the pace. So we are only now following suit and possibly want to see how far this can go. And we want to be at a space whereby you can visit a counselor at any time, not because you are feeling depressed, not because you are feeling angry, or not maybe because you have financial challenges. Because I don't know what happens when people are experiencing financial challenges. That's the time they quickly think about a counselor. We want to put it in a place whereby counseling is taken in just the same way as we usually have the physical health, whereby I'm having a migraine, let me pass by the clinic.
Yes, and it's okay.
I'm having a stomach upset, let me go into a laboratory and be tested.
Yes.
But the analogy that people have had in their minds, if you see me walking into a counselor's room,
you're crashing.
Something is really wrong.
Yeah.
And so people are looking at it with, it's important that now people are looking at it in a different way. Yes.
Amazing.
Courtesy of the sensitization that is being done by the government.
Yeah.
If you look at the same sensitization, it has also been done a lot in the disciplined forces, whereby now the disciplined forces now even have a station, resident counselors.
Yeah.
You hear counselors are now working with the National Police Service, and they have been deployed in all areas.
Yeah.
You look at the county governments. County governments are also incorporating a lot of psychologists and counselors all over Kenya.
Yes.
So that's a safe space to be in.
Amazing.
Yes.
Wow. I think as we come to the conclusion and the end of the show, we have practical cases that can lead to depression, practical cases in the society.
Yes.
We have, which we look at some and probably get to hear from a counselor on the angle of, though tutataja story ya betting, but pia unaweza tuguzia.
Okay.
Yes.
That has actually
licensed it to function.
Yes.
And the consequences and how to come, of course, out of stuff of dealing with betting and all that. I need to understand, must I bet so that I can get money and all that?
Not really. The value of hard work has not been instilled in everyone. Maybe you and me know the value of hard work.
Yes.
But from where we are coming from, we are in a society whereby people are envisioning a large living. But they don't want to walk through the process.
Yes.
For me to be where I am, I can actually trace back to more than 15 years. Yeah? To be where I am today.
Yes, yes.
Somebody will see me today on TV and they would want to be there. Somebody will see you driving a nice car and they would want to be the one driving a similar vehicle or even a better version than yours.
Yes.
Because according to them, their possessions or maybe material possessions give them value. But what you're talking about is the values of hard work not being instilled in them. No, they do not have a definition of it.
Yes.
So what they are doing is they are wishing to having money easily.
Yeah.
They want to have a hefty bank account. But for you to be able to have a hefty bank account, of course, we all know the value of hard work.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, even the Bible talks about if you not work, if you don't work, you also don't eat.
Yes.
So we are at a place whereby the values of hard work have been diminished. And not to put the blame on the government, but I think there needed to be some limitation in terms of now the betting control needed to do some limitation in terms of who are we licensing.
Yes.
What kind of games are we licensing? You buy a newspaper today and you go in a place whereby they are youths, and they will actually even borrow the back pages, the sports pages, because they want to bet. And then these are people who, instead of working hard, following the channels of what everybody else has followed, to find themselves in a place of, at least let's have a, do you see like the way we were in primary school, primary mathematics had those steps. You're rising from one step to the other, building from one. So initially it shows you that for you to come from 1 to 7, you have to walk through the steps.
Yes.
People that are coming from, or maybe possibly the people who have been obsessed with this betting thing. I call the betting thing a get-rich-quick scheme. Yeah. Just the same as the pyramid schemes, whereby you are rewarded for not working. Yeah. Where, even in the Bible, who are in the society. So what will happen is that somebody will have 1,000 shillings today,
Yes.
and in their mind, they
That's
want
a
to
million.
work. They want to work with 1,000,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I will do is I will bet, because I want to believe that out of that 1,000 shillings, I can't miss the whole lottery.
Yes.
Possibly I'll get something like, even if it's just another 1,000.
Yeah.
And the reward comes in and you'll be like, yeah, I've won some money. So what does that mean? It takes you back into that.
Yes.
I read a story of a lady whose son was complaining, but she's an elderly lady, and the son was complaining that after she retired,
Yes.
they wanted her to settle. They wanted to settle their mother in a village somewhere in Muranga, and they bought a cow and a few goats to keep her busy.
Yeah.
They also helped her set up a poultry kind of poultry farming.
Yes.
And whereby they bought a number of chicken and wanted her to be busy. Then, if you open the radio right now,
Yes.
just turn on the radio, and what happens? The next minute you are hearing, to win 100,000, send 100 shillings
Yes.
with this word. Like basically every radio station
Yes.
is talking about such. So what is happening is that we are being corrupted, that there is a different way of earning money than the hard work.
Yes.
And unfortunately for you and me who know the value of hard work, maybe you will not be easily enticed.
Yes,
But
yes.
out of those people who are in the university, they'll easily try to do that. Actually, give them school fees.
Yes.
And what do? They'll do the betting because they want to believe that my dad gave me 20,000. I can make this 40 and be left with the 20 for my own upkeep. Then they squander everything. So what will happen from there? This person will actually now want to end their life because they cannot endure the shame.
Yes.
Number two, I am not strong enough to face my parents. To tell them now, the school fees that you gave me, I squandered it all in betting.
Yeah.
Okay? So and unfortunately, the betting thing is not with the teenagers alone.
Even adults.
People are doing it even as late as 90 years. Okay? So you don't want to talk about midlife crisis, but yes, there are some issues that if you have not been taught, actually I think I can only sum it by saying, if you are not taught the value of hard work,
Yes.
then you'll find yourself easily delving, and you'll find yourself getting stressed because the little money that possibly you had has actually gone into the ways of get rich quick schemes. Yes.
Amazing. We can take the last one, the place of hurt, which is brought by abuse, whether physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and someone is hurt, someone is bitter.
Yes.
And now that pushing them, also maybe the place of rape, that pushing the person to depression and all that.
Yes.
What can you say about it briefly as we conclude?
It's an individual's perspective to life that gives them the definition of life.
Yes.
Whatever you have endured in life can be dealt with.
Yes.
That's my thinking. And the definition of pain is also very personal. People have gone through pain and have overcome it because one, they were able to accept that even if it was my mistake, I will not live with the mistake. People have gone through abuse, whether physical, molestation, rape, and people came out in different perspectives.
Yes.
One became a crusader, telling people how they wouldn't want it to happen to anyone else.
Yes.
How many lessons they learned out of the pain that they went through. Then another person decides to turn the pain into anger and now says, I will carry this hatred because of this person who caused me pain. And so what do? If it was somebody who was molested, they would want to pay back the pain by molesting somebody else.
Yes.
So it is either way. It is how you define the pain. Okay?
Yes.
But initially, what the easiest way to do is go through counseling. Counseling helps you filter all those kinds of pain. It helps you declutter your mind in a big way in terms of something that was done to me when I was a young boy, and I'm still holding it today, is only affecting me. It doesn't actually affect the person who did it.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like the way we say swallowing poison, expecting your neighbor to die. As in, it's only affecting you. So if somebody is in a place of understanding, counseling is very helpful.
Yeah.
Somebody being able to identify and say, okay, fine, I would want to live an all-rounded life. And where I want to be is not where I was yesterday. So I want to define my future by one, not transferring the pain to the other person.
Yes.
Because in many cases, you'll find people, look, for instance, allow me to say this as I wind up. Those people who, for instance, who suffered or maybe contracted HIV sometimes back, maybe those days when it was a no-go, when people used to talk in hush-hush tones about somebody who has HIV. And then you'd hear someone has decided to do now the spread. They want to sleep with as many people as possible because they are still hurting and they have not gotten to a place of acceptance that it has happened to them. So by the time this person dies, they actually leave a list.
Yes.
Of about 50 or so people. And by then we didn't know about what we are calling talking about tracing.
Yes.
So imagine the kind of cycle, it's kind of now makes a branch. Infects 50, then the 50 infects another 50, one infects another 5, and you can only try to imagine. But this person is coming from a place of pain. So being able to deal with the pain is through one, counseling. Number two, acceptance. And number three, getting to forgive self. And understanding that however reckless I might have been, if it happened out of recklessness, because there are people who have gone through molestation maybe when they were drunk, and somebody looks at life and they're like, oh, I was molested, or maybe I went through this pain when I was reckless. The moment you choose to forgive yourself, that's where the healing starts. Yes. So that's my thinking.
When someone has a specific issue, do you have a category of counseling or counselors? Or counselors are there for general issues in the society? Do we have specific issues in the society that should be channeled towards a specific category? For example, under the medical field, we have surgeons, dentists, opticians. Do you have such kind of categories when it comes to the counseling and guidance field?
Yes. Just like doctors in the medical field, counselors ought to specialize. Though it's not the case with many. The unfortunate bit is that majority of the counselors that are within the Kenyan space are general counselors, whereby I'll handle a case to do with substance abuse. Then the next client comes in is a marital case. The next one that pops in is a loss and grief. So we need to be at a space whereby we can be able to define the kind of counseling that is being done, especially when it comes to issues to do with marital issues. There are those we call marriage therapists. They are at a better space to give marriage therapy than just a general counselor. Children should be dealt with by child counselors. Okay? But you'll find in many setups, a counselor who is counseling a couple, the next minute a child walks in. Okay? Because according to them, it's all about application of theory. That's not true. In counseling, you have to get to a place where by now you define and say, okay, fine, this is what I can be able to do. Especially in matters that need a lot of concentration. Like, for instance, addiction. Addiction, we need addiction counselors. But you'll find somebody who actually has what we call a basic counseling course is counseling addiction. Whereby you have no ideas on dealing with the theories of addiction. But because you call yourself a counselor, I have met people. Unfortunately, that is where we are. And the unfortunate bit is that the government has also not been so keen in putting measures, maybe like putting a regulatory body. But yes, we have Kenya Counseling and Psychological Association, and we have something like Kenya Association of Professional Counselors, and quite a few others that have now lined up their members into what we call bona fide membership. But there are other people, actually the majority are practicing without a license.
Okay.
And so you will find, I've listened to cases whereby somebody told me that they'll never go to a counselor. Reason, the one they saw seemed unprofessional. So that's what we are dealing with. That's the unfortunate bit. So yes, the question, back to your question, counselors also need a definition of their role. They need a specialty. And that way, we'll be able to have a progressive and a meaningful session with the clients.
And finally, even as you tell us where we can find you, we from this end we feel, you know, when we want medical services, we know where we can get hospitals. But when we want counseling services, apart from you know, when Daniel comes and says, by the guys, Nico Garden City, it becomes a bit difficult. I have an issue, but it becomes difficult to figure out certain topic counselor. Yeah, now the option probably is locating a counseling institution like Amani, you know. But from it now, you're dealing with the lecturers and students. What do you think? Is there a general platform where we can get counselors and probably have a place of choosing the way I can choose to? I don't want this kind of doctor. I want this. I don't want to go to KNH. I want Bagathi. Do you have that kind of thing?
I may not have full info on that, but I have an idea that people are now creating apps whereby I have seen people looking for counselors through apps. I don't have any in mind right now that I can share. But yes, there are some apps, but those are things that are now upcoming, whereby you can be able to pick a counselor, you can be able to pick a doctor, and maybe that's something that maybe one might be able to get through Google. Google gives you a lot of information in terms of where to get such. Yes. But maybe the best thing would be maybe there needs to have a platform whereby we can be able, somebody needs to go through counseling. They know where to get one. Yes. Yeah, that's what usually happens. But now we do not have a specified place whereby we can say, okay, fine, I want to look for a therapist. I only need to Google marriage therapists in Kenya. And maybe able to get, maybe they'll pop up the ones that are registered. Yes, but now there are organizations, there are institutions like maybe one can call and possibly be able to be helped. Like there is the Kenya Counseling and Psychological Association. There is also the Kenya Association of Professional Counselors. There is also now the one I mentioned about Amani. All those are institutions that have counselors. And we also have Red Cross. Yes. Yes.
Amazing. Probably can tell us where we can find you. And much about Daniel, and then we can close.
Right. Daniel is a counseling psychologist, passionate about what I do. I would actually say that. And currently I'm practicing as a private psychologist. I run an office in Garden Estate, and on an 8 to 5 job, I'm working with Minet Kenya as a wellness counselor. And I would want to possibly share my details for anybody who would want to reach out to me. My mobile number is 0722 291 047 or 0735 134220. Let me repeat. Mobile number Safaricom is 0722 291 047. And Airtel is 0735 134 220. Thank you.
Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. It has been, very educative on this end, and I really thank each and every one of you who has tuned in this night, even to indulge in the conversation about matters mental health. And I believe on your end, you've really taken some good points, and it has been a blessing. So let us continue having that conversation on our social media platforms, that is across Nisi Television Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, tumefika ile wakati tunasemanga, tunasemangaje? It is a wrap. I was looking for that word. See you next week, Tuesday, same time, same place. My name has been Kesh Susan, the Divulge Show.
Nisi Television, the house of rest. Welcome to Nisi Television, the house of rest.